In this video, we're going to create an announcement bar with a countdown timer without installing or using Shopify apps. Stay tuned for that. Before we start this video, I just want to announce that I have already published my course, Shopify Theme Development. So if you're interested to learn how to create Shopify themes, or if you're interested to learn about Shopify Liquid programming, then you can enroll to my course and use the coupon code COUNTDOWN to get 50% off of your purchase. If you're interested, you can check the link in the description below and enroll to my course. Alright, so let's just go back to the video. So in this video, we're going to use the library called Countdown.js created by Fiona Chan. I'll put the link of this repo in the video description below so you can open that. And then we're going to use the Countdown.js. So first of all, let's just open this and just click the raw. And then here we can just copy all of the code. So just press Ctrl A and then copy. And then let's open our store. Let me just close my dashboard, honestly. We don't need that. And then let's open the online store page and we should have the theme section and then click edit code. But before we do that, make sure that you have your theme backed up. So here I have my copy of Debut. This is my previous theme that I used, but I backed up it. So make sure that you have your theme backed up. So all right, so let's just click actions and select edit code. And let's just go down here a little bit and select the assets folder. And here we have the add a new asset, click that, and select create a new blank file, and we'll call it countdown. And then instead of CSS, select JS. Click add asset, and let's open that countdown.js file. And here you can just paste the code that we copied from the countdown.js raw file. All right, so let's just hit save. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is to use this file. So let's open the theme.liquid. And here in our head tag, look for the head tag and just look for the closing head tag. So it should be right over here. So closing head tag. And we have here the FAQ.css that we created in the previous lesson or the previous video. Let's just add another asset URL. Should be an object. And let's reference the countdown.js. And let's use the filter called asset_URL. And after that, after the asset URL filter, we'll pass the URL to script tag. All right, so let's just hit save. There we go. The next thing we're going to do is just to create the section. So let's just open the sections folder, click the add a new section, and then let's just call it countdown-bar. Click create section. And in this file, we can just get rid of the JavaScript and then the style sheet tag. We don't need that. Instead, we're going to create script tag. Script. Make sure that you close that. And we're going to use that later on. But for now, let's just change the name of schema to countdown bar. And then for the setting, the first thing we're going to create is for the, it's a checkbox. So basically, if you want to disable the announcement bar or the countdown bar, you can do that by creating a setting for that. So here, let's just create a new setting. So first, we need to set its type to checkbox. And then next is the ID. We need to set it to enable_countdown, I guess. And then underneath of this, we can just set its default value to false. And then last is the label. We can just set it to enable countdown bar. And if we save this, and if we go back to theme.liquid, and here inside of our body tag, we can just use the section tag. So let's just create a tag. So open and close curly braces, and then inside of this, a set of percentage symbols. And then between this, we're going to type section and single quotation mark. And inside of the set of single quotation marks, we're going to type countdown-bar. So basically, this is the name of the section that we created. Let's just hit save. And if we open our customizer, honestly, let's just open the online store once again. And we can just click the customize button. And here we should have the following countdown bar section settings. So let's just click that. And here we can enable or disable the countdown bar. So let's just check this. Hit save. We can just go back to the editor, and here we can finally start working on our countdown bar liquid. So first, let's just check if the enable countdown is true or false. So let's just create an if tag. Make sure that you type if, and then the condition is if section dot settings dot enable underscore countdown. So enable countdown is the variable ID that you created here in your settings. So section, this is the section, settings is the settings object, and then enable countdown, that is the ID that you created for your setting. All right, so if this is true, don't forget the end if here. So basically you're starting the if condition, and then you must end that using the end if tag. Inside of this if condition, we can just create the section. So we can just type section. We can just give it a class of countdown hyphen bar hyphen container. And then we can just close this section. And then inside of this section, we can start creating the template for our countdown bar. So first we need to create a div, and we can just give it a class of countdown. And we can also give it an ID, this is important, of countdown. And then the next attribute that we're going to apply to our div is the data date. This is also important. Let's just give it an empty string for now, or empty value. And then next is the data time. So if we go back to the repo or the library, so here as you can see in the HTML must-haves, it's asking for data date attribute or data date attribute and data time attribute. So let's just apply that. Let's go back to the editor, and then here we have the data date attribute, and then next is the data time. So let's just give it a value of 00:00. And for the data date, for now we can just give it a value of, say for example, what day is it today? It's already almost March. So we can just give it a date of, I don't know, like 2, and then hyphen 3 hyphen 2021. So that's the format for the data date attribute. If we go back to the repo or the library, as you can see, the format is dd hyphen mm, supposed to be dash YYY, so full year. All right, so let's just go back to the customizer, not customizer, editor. I apologize. And let's just continue with this div. So let's just close this. And then instead of this div, we can just start creating the span for each time. So first is the hour, or I think the date. So let's just open this again. So day, hour, and then minutes, and then seconds. So first is the day. So div class day. Close that. Next up, we can just copy this 4 times. Second is hour. Third is min for minutes. And then last is sec for seconds. And then inside of this div, we need to create 2 spans. So first is the span for the num, and then the second is for the label for, like, say for example, day. So this number is for day, and then the second is for hour, minutes, and so on. So inside of this div, let's just create that. First is the span. Let's just give it a class of num. Let's just close that. Let's copy this element, duplicate that, and instead of num, change it to word. And next up, let's just do the same thing for the rest. Let's copy the span and then paste that inside of the div class hour. Do the same thing for the div class min. And for the seconds as well. Let's just save this. And there we go. I think we're almost done. The last thing that we're going to set up is our script. So we need to enable or initiate the countdown. So here in the script tag, we can just create a variable, and we can just call it countdown. And then we need to use the countdown functions or countdown class. And then inside of this, we need to apply a set of options. Let's just end this with semicolon. First is the element. So we have here the countdown ID. So target and set it to countdown ID. Make sure that you have the number sign symbol. Next up is day word. I think we have here the following format. So yeah, JS initializer, we can just copy the following options. So let's just copy this. Let's just go back to the editor and paste it here. So first target, that's the element. So countdown ID. and then day word, the days that you want to display in your labels, in your span class word, and then the rest is just for labels, honestly. So we can just hit save. Let's open our homepage, hit refresh. All right, so it's now working. I think we have a problem. Let's just open the console. So identifier countdown has already been declared. All right, so I think we need to change the variable to something else. So var instead of countdown, we can just call it date down, something like that. Hit save. Let's open our browser again or our homepage, hit refresh. And there you go, we have the following countdown timer. So the next thing we're going to do is just to design this. So let's just go back to the editor and let's open the assets folder, create a new asset. And let's just call it countdown.css. Click add asset. Let's open that file, countdown.css. The first thing that we need to set up is the countdown bar. I think let's open the countdown bar.liquid. So we have the following section. So section class countdown bar container. Let's just use that class. So countdown bar container. And in this class, we're going to set its display to flex. And we need to set its width to 100%. And for its background, we can just honestly set it to yellow for now. And then next up is the margin. We need to set it to 0. And for its padding, we can just set it to 10 pixels. And lastly is the justify content. And then we can just set it to center. Hit save. Let's open our homepage, hit refresh. All right, so it's not displaying it. The reason for that is because we need to use the CSS in our theme.liquid. So let's just open the theme.liquid. And here in our countdown.js or just below the FAQ.css, we can just create another style sheet tag. So we can just copy the FAQ.css. And instead of FAQ, change it to countdown.css. Hit save. And there you go, we have the following countdown bar. So we can just continue and style up our countdown. Open your editor and your countdown.css. And the next thing that we're going, or the next class that we're going to use is the countdown class. Countdown. And then we need to set its display to WebKit box. And then another display. And this time we should be using MS Flexbox. Next up is another display. And this time it should be flex. And then we can also set its padding to 10 pixels to 20 pixels horizontally. And next up is margin. We can also, you know what? First is the border. We can give it a border of 1 pixel solid, and then the color is black, something like that. And then for its width, we can just set it to fit content. And next up is height. We can also set it to fit content. And then for the margin, set it to auto. Hit save. There you go, that looks much better. Awesome. So next up, we need to just move the labels below and then make the numbers look much bigger. So here underneath of the countdown style or class, we can just use the countdown class day, as well as the countdown hour, and then countdown sec or min, supposed to be min, and then countdown sec. And we can set its padding to 2 pixels and 20 pixels, and then make it centered and set its height to fit content and set its margin to auto. And then we can just copy this, paste it here, and just add num for each selector. So num, copy this and paste it for the hour as well, here as well, and for the second. And for the styles, we can just set it to display to block. And for its font size, set it to 20 pixels. Hit save. Let's open our browser, hit refresh. There you go, now it looks much better, right? Awesome. So let's just continue. Go back to the customizer or editor. And then you can just duplicate this honestly. Copy this, paste it below. And instead of num, use word and apply it to the rest of the selector. And instead of the 20 pixels for the font size, you can just set it to 10. And that's pretty much it. hit save. Let's open our homepage, hit refresh. And there we go, we have the following countdown timer. So if you want, you can just add a heading title here and just button here. But you know what, to make this a little bit more interesting, let's add a label here that says last day sale, something like that. So let's do that. Let's open our editor once again. But you know what, the problem with this style or this countdown timer bar is if we open the customizer, and you know what, let me just refresh our customizer, honestly. Oh, actually it worked. I didn't expect that. But yeah, that's how you create countdown timer using libraries. There's a lot of libraries out there that you can use, but yeah, this is what I chose for this video. So next we're going to do just to display a label that says last day sale. So let's just continue. Let's open the editor, and here in the countdown bar.liquid, before the countdown class, we can just create another div. And let's just give it a class of countdown bar header. And inside of this div, we can create a heading title 1, so h1. And then we can just set it to something like sale, sale, sale. Or you know what, we can just create a setting for that. So let's just copy the setting of the enable countdown, paste it above, add comma, don't forget that. And instead of checkbox, set it to title or text, sorry about that, text. And then for the ID, set it to title. That's what I'm trying to say. And for the default value, you can just set it to sale text here. And for its label, set it to countdown label heading title or countdown heading title. Why am I taking so much time just for that? Hit save. Let's go back here in the heading 1. Instead of sale, 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 change it to section.settings.title. Hit save. Let's open our homepage, hit refresh. And there you have it. Now we have the sale text here, text. So we can just continue and customize the CSS for that heading title. Come back to the countdown.css, and after everything, we can just select the countdown bar header and then set its height to fit content and its margin to auto and then 15 pixels. Hit save. Let's open our homepage, hit refresh, and that should move the heading title a little bit down. But it's not totally down yet because I believe there's a margin for the heading title. So we can just fix that by using the same class. We can copy this, paste here, and use the h1 tag. And for its height, we don't need to set it. Instead, we need to set its margin to 0. There we go. Hit save. Let's go back to our homepage, hit refresh. And there we go. Now, as you can see, everything is aligned in the middle. Awesome. So the next thing we're going to do is just to move this here in the middle or align everything in the middle. So here, I think we just need to add a width for our countdown bar header. Let's just add width, and it should be fit content as well. Hit save. Let's open our browser or our homepage, hit refresh. So it's not totally centered yet. All right, so I think we can do that. We can fix that by setting the margin for the countdown because I think it's creating a margin for this content. So we can just change it to from auto to 10 pixels horizontally. Hit save. Let's open our homepage again, hit refresh. And there you have it. Everything should be centered. But if we open the customizer and refresh this, and as you can see, everything just looked really bad. And we have the following scroll bar. So that's what we're going to fix here next. Go back to the CSS. And what we're going to use is the media selector. So add symbol, and then should be media. Let me just honestly add space here so you can zoom in. And then we need to set it to only screen. And set its max height or width, I apologize. Max width to 768, I believe. Should be pixels. And first off, we need to set the container bar container. So we can just copy this, paste it here, and just get rid of everything. This time, instead of flex, we need to set it to block. All right, so let's just save this. Open our homepage, hit refresh. And if we also refresh our customizer page, and there we go, that should fix everything. But if you notice, it's not totally centered. So that's what we're going to fix next. So underneath of the count bar container, you can just use the countdown class and set its margin to 0 auto. And we can do the same thing for the header. So countdown hyphen bar hyphen header and set its width to fit content. And for its margin, we can set it to auto. And then we can also use the h1 tag. So countdown bar hyphen header h1 tag. And we can just set its font size to 20 pixels. And we can also set its margin bottom to something like 10 pixels. Hit save. Let's open our home page, hit refresh. There you go, nothing changed. But if we open our customizer and refresh our page, everything should be centered. All right, so it didn't actually center the heading title. Let's just go back to the customizer. Let's just double check. Oh, it's supposed to be margin, not margin. Sorry about that. Hit save once again. Let's open our customizer, hit refresh. All right, so I think we're almost done, but I think we forgot something, and that is the data date attribute of our countdown element or countdown tag or div with the class of countdown. But you know what I'm trying to say? Let's just fix that by going back to editor. And here we have the data date attribute, right? So what we're going to do is just to leave this empty and then go here in the script tag, and we're going to create a variable, and let's just call it date. And then we're going to use the class date. So make sure you type new date. And let me just honestly add spaces here so you guys can see my code. And then underneath of this, we need to set its date. So set date function. And we're going to use the date.getDate. And then we need to increment that by either 1 or 2. So 2 means 2 days, 1 means just 1 day. So if you want to add 1 day, you can just add 1. If you want to add 2 days. So you can just set it to 2. But I'll just set it to 1 just for the sake of this video. And then next up, we need to create another variable, and we can just call it date or new date. And next, we're going to use the date variable, and we're going to use the function to local date string. And then we're going to use the split function and apply /. Let's just create another variable. Let's just call it new date format. And then we're going to use the new date, and it should be first is the month or day. So it should be in the 1. So we need to concatenate the dash symbol and then plus. Next is the month, so we can just use new date. It should be 0. And then concatenate another dash plus, and then new date 2, something like that. And then there you go. Now we have the new date format. What we can do is just to apply the value of the new date format variable to our countdown data date attribute. So we can just use the document dot get element by ID, and the ID is countdown. And we're going to use the set attribute function, and that with semicolon, and the attribute is data date, and the value is the new date format. There you go, and hit save. Let's open our homepage, hit refresh, and that should update our countdown timer. Let's try and change the set date. Instead of 1, let's set it to 5. Hit save, so we're adding 5 days. Let's open our homepage, hit refresh. And there you go. As you can see, now we still have 4 days and 16 hours left. So there you have it, guys. That's how you create a countdown timer or announcement bar or sale countdown timer bar, whatever you call it, using Liquid Code without using any apps or without installing any apps. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll try to answer that. If you want to add, say for example, buttons that allows you to lead customers to a certain page or a certain area of your website, you can easily do that by creating a setting for anchor tags or for buttons. So if you have any idea what you want to see next, let me know in the comments below and I will definitely talk about that or cover that in the next video. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by hitting the like button and subscribe if you want more Shopify development or Shopify theme development related videos. And again, guys, thank you so much for watching and I will see you all in the next video.